Anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. The 31st annual Hurricane Showdown brings nearly 60 LGBTQ teams to South Florida Thanksgiving weekend for a beloved 3-day softball tradition.
Florida lawmakers revive a broader bill restricting pride flags on government property, prompting advocates to warn of erasure and urge political opposition.
Organizers cancel Grampian Pride 2026 due to rising hostility, funding struggles, and the need to prioritize essential LGBTQ support and safety services.
A new analysis highlights 10 thriving queer-friendly U.S. neighborhoods with a median home price under $300,000.
Pope Leo XIV will share a Sunday meal with transgender activists during the Vatican's Jubilee of the Poor, signaling continued inclusivity. But is it enough? All these important LGBTQ+ news and more this evening on Queer News Tonight. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening news show, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified that Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ+ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 11 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida.
We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in our rainbow family. There's no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Monday, November 17th. We are live and literally out of the closet and into so many headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell you this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ+ evening news show.
Hotspots magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but created for the LGBTQ+ community.
Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community. We are a part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
In 2025, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 11,000 LGBTQ television stories. We present South Florida's major LGBTQ events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, Pride Fest. Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2025, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this table and share their voices as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support the LGBTQ+ community. Let's meet this evening's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Otto Zielke, an accomplished brand influencer and marketing leader with a dynamic background in financial services and travel marketing. Edward currently serves as the Director of Marketing and Sponsorship for the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida. He also serves on the Gala Chorus's Communications Committee. The Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida has the Christmas concert coming at Hard Rock. You'll be having a raffle for a world-class trip to Peru. Edward, tell me what's happening.
Thanks, Cal. The Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida brings an incredible opportunity that supports a great cause and could send you on a vacation of a lifetime. The Happening Out Travel Club, part of Hotspots Magazine and the Happening Out Television Network, is presenting a luxury 13-day Machu Picchu and Peru experience for two, valued at $30,000. And it all benefits the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida. By entering the Machu Picchu raffle, you're helping support the chorus's mission, and you could win an unforgettable journey. The winner's itinerary includes Lima, Cusco, Machu Picchu, and the Sacred Valley, complete with deluxe hotels, round-trip air from Florida in all-country flights, and hand-curated VIP moments, including the iconic Belmont Hiram Bingham train experience. The drawing will be held live at the Holiday Sleigh Ride at Hard Rock Live on Tuesday, December 9th, 2025. To enter the raffle and to learn more, visit happeningout.travel/GMCSF. Don't miss your chance to support the fantastic organization and maybe discover one of the world's greatest wonders for yourself. And don't forget to pick up your tickets for Holiday Sleigh Ride at gmcsf.org. I know I had to get that one in. But it's going to be a fantastic. We are so excited to have this trip and to help raise money for our organization. It's just so wonderful. So thank you again to all our friends here at Happening Out Travel Club for giving us this wonderful trip to raffle out.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually traveled with the travel club this summer on this very same trip. It is so worth it. Whoever wins this is going to be in for an incredible adventure. Not only the history that you experience in Lima, but the culture in Cusco and, the food, the being at Machu Picchu was extremely magical. So I highly encourage everyone to participate in this raffle. It's something you'll never forget.
And the tickets really aren't that expensive to win a $30,000 trip. $40 is not a bad deal.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and they actually do, if you enter one, it's like $100 for the raffle. But then as you enter into more quantities of the tickets, then you can get as low as $40 a ticket. So that's pretty good. And it really, gives your chances even more to win. Mm-hmm. And the fantastic thing is that you'll be announced live on stage at Hard Rock Live as the winner.
That's exciting.
That's going to be fantastic.
That's awesome. So register to win, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Let's welcome anchor Kevin Lee. He's a 3-time #1 best-selling author, transformational speaker, and intuitive life coach. This native Texan is on a mission to help you find life purpose, spiritual fulfillment, and true happiness. Kevin Lee, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Cal. Listen, as an intuitive life coach and as one of the latest news anchors here, my job is basically the same. So I just follow my intuition, I report on the facts, and I just, as my higher self sees it. So that's what I do.
What's your intuition about tonight's show?
I think it's going to be fabulous.
Don't tell Faye.
I miss my Faye.
I know Faye's hosting the Taste of the Island tonight in Wilton Manor. So awesome. we do miss Faye.
Yeah.
Let's welcome anchor Will Haas. Will is a bi-coastal real estate professional and is the past president of South Florida's most popular gay social club, the Bears of South Florida. He also serves as a board member of Naples Pride and an advisory board member of Freedom Waters. Will, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I get so many things coming up. The Bears have their holiday party coming up in December. Naples Pride is going to have their gala again in January. So there's so many galas and events, the gay old holidays are here.
Yeah, where can people find more information?
So for Naples Pride Gala, naplespride.org. And for the Bears, it's bosfl.org.
Awesome.
The holiday party is a wonderful event. If you can get your tickets, it's an amazing annual thing for us.
It's going to be so wonderful. The Gay Men's Chorus is actually going to be singing at the at their holiday concert. They do that every year, and it's so wonderful that we get to celebrate with you at the holidays. But also, we're part of the award ceremony too, so it's going to be an exciting day for us too.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I know this year I got to represent Can Community Health to receive the award for the Corporate Partner Award, along with the Bears of South Florida for the other award they were given. So that was a really special night. Yeah,
we had our Chic and Unique Ball about a few weeks ago, and so honoring all of our major partners is something that we love doing as well. So definitely a lot of great events that are happening, a lot of good balls. There was the Equality Florida Ball that just happened over the weekend. So it's the time of year for fundraisers. But the Sarasota one sounds fantastic.
Well, welcome to the show, Will.
Thanks.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Dr. Kal Gajraj. Dr. Gajraj is a Senior Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer at Can Community Health. Kal is also a Senior Advisor at the U.S. Institute of Diplomacy and Human Rights, a professor at Miami-Dade College School of Global Business, and on the Communications Council and contributor at Forbes. Kal, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
You've got an event coming up soon, right?
We
I think that
do.
World AIDS Day event, the No Day But Today. Tell us all about it.
Yes, so Kent Community Health, along with Vive Healthcare, is hosting a huge World AIDS Day concert Sunday, November 30th in Fort Lauderdale and Monday, December 1st, in Tampa. It's featuring Adam Pascal and Anthony Rapp, who were the original Mark and Roger from the Broadway musical Rent. So we're super excited about that. We also have the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida that will be performing during their opening pre-show performance that's presented by First Horizon Bank, in addition to Alexander Zenos and the Birds of Paradise, who's going to be our featured headliner in Fort Lauderdale. So we're super excited about that event, and you can get tickets at nodaybuttoday.org.
This is so great. I love the soundtrack of Rent. I mean, I remember seeing it in the 90s when it came out, and it was just such a powerful, new, reinventive way to do Broadway. And just to celebrate the music here for the people that actually, helped create it is absolutely wonderful.
The events look good to me. Great nights. Good shows.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially to combine a night of music and remembrance and hope for a community. It's something that we desperately need right now.
Yeah.
Yes, very true.
I love the World AIDS Day every year. It's it's important to me because my husband's been involved with the Names Project for so many years, and in other organizations he brought a lot of HIV awareness and for children, surprisingly enough, to the Broward school system. And so it just makes me smile when I hear about activities that support the queer community and also World AIDS Day. So I think it's going to be a great celebration.
Absolutely. So get your tickets today at nodaybuttoday.org. I'm Dr. Kal Gajraj, and let's queer up gay culture. Hotspots magazine celebrates gay softball's biggest weekend, Hurricane Showdown 2025. Our Hotspots Happening Out LGBTQ lifestyle magazine, Hotspots, is back with features on one of South Florida's most anticipated LGBTQ sporting traditions, the Hurricane Showdown, returning Thanksgiving weekend for its 31st year. Nearly 60 teams from across the country will compete from November 28th to November 30th in 3 divisions at Mills Pond Park, Tradewinds Park, and featured games at Brian Piccolo Park. Tournament director Josh Eager says, quote, "I look forward to hosting all the teams from across the country. It is truly special seeing all the players and fans come spend the holiday weekend here playing a game they love," end quote. This is the feature story, and many more are included in your free copy of the upcoming issue of Hotspots magazine on stands this Thursday, November 20th. It's super exciting, to have, there's like thousands of people who are coming in town for this event. I know last year when they came, it was just great. Just after the games, all the bars and clubs got involved because a lot of them sponsor these teams. So you would see them out in Wilton, and they were all bar hopping, and especially like you said, enjoying something that they love, which is playing softball.
It's great. I mean, it gives us more heroes for younger kids to look up to, and, athletic heroes, and, just, it brings a lot of joy to kids, and, who doesn't love seeing, hot guys in uniforms in a softball game?
I'm a part of the local group Front Runners and Walkers, and sports is important. I mean, walking, running is a sport. I like to see different kinds of sports in the area. And I feel when I'm with my group on Saturday mornings by the beach, I feel safe. I feel like I have community. And I think that queer sports around the world, they're growing, and it's nice to see this happening, especially at a time when we are experiencing queer culture being canceled and made invisible and what have you.
Yeah.
I absolutely think that sports in general is something that I have no type of knowledge on, but I really appreciate it. And, that says a lot for me because, I don't follow sports, but I appreciate it. And I appreciate people in our community that take the time to invest in things like that. And I think that it speaks a lot for people that, may not know a certain topic, but want to learn more. And that's something that, I've always strived to do. I like softball. I understand it. And I love seeing the men like you do in uniforms too. So I'm there.
Play ball, right? Yeah. Well, best of luck to all the players and teams that are coming into South Florida.
I'm Edward Otto Zielke, and let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Florida legislator will introduce ban on pride flags that will stop city and county LGBTQ plus support. Florida LGBTQ plus advocates are sounding the alarm as state lawmakers revive efforts to restrict the display of pride flags on government property. The proposal marks the fourth attempt as many years, but supporters of equality say this version goes even further. Over the summer, Governor Ron DeSantis ordered the removal of rainbow crosswalks and street murals across the state. Actions Equality Florida calls, quote, blatant government overreach meant to erase symbols of our history, our resilience, and our visibility, end quote. State Representative David Barrero and Senator Clay Yarborough filed the new bill for the 2026 session, which would bar state and local buildings from displaying any flag representing race, gender, or sexual orientation, effectively banning the pride flag. At the same time, it allows flags of historical significance, a category that advocates note includes Confederate flags. The legislation also seeks to limit the ability of cities and counties to design their own flags. John Harris Maurer, Public Policy Director for Equality Florida, emphasized the importance of pride symbols as markers of safety and community. He noted that last year, a wave of public opposition helped defeat similar bills. Equality Florida is urging residents to contact lawmakers ahead of the legislative session beginning in January. You know, this is something that really resonates with me. I remember when I was first vacationing as a young man here in Florida, and I was coming to Wilton Manors, and I thought, this is such a great community because, you know, they have all of like the representations of making me feel safe. You know, when I first went there, I was like, wow, they actually have pride flags out. And wow, they actually have all these businesses, all like in Wilton Manors, all on one street. And it just, when I was young, it just made me feel safe. It made me feel seen. And I felt like I could walk the streets at like 20 years old and not have to worry about my safety. And I think that's really what it's resonating for young people these days, is that they're trying to find spaces in cities where they can be themselves.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's a shame because they took down the crosswalks saying those are a distraction, and the statistics don't show that. But also too, now they're taking down flags. What's a flag hurting? I mean, what's their reasoning for that? And for city and counties not to have their own flags, people are proud of where they live, and we're proud to live in Milton Manors, so we should be able to show that proudness.
Yeah, it makes me think of, years from now when these legislators look back at their legacy and they talk about, what did they fight for and what did they stand for? Mm-hmm. All they're going to have to talk about is that they wrote legislation to break down crosswalks and to take down flags, mm-hmm. when they should be addressing homelessness and food mm-hmm. insecurity and the concerns of their constituency.
Exactly. The pride flag is not a political statement for us. It's really a visual cue of safety for us.
Yeah.
It is a place of inclusivity, whether you be a straight ally, whether you be any spectrum of the LGBT rainbow. And to me, it really is disturbing that when the state removes these symbols, the message that it sends is, like we said, one of erasure. And what is that saying? It's saying you do not belong. Mm-hmm. And so I like what you had to say when you talked about how the pride flag really welcomed you into Wilton Manors, welcomed you into Fort Lauderdale, because that's what it is. It's a welcoming symbol all over the world.
Yeah. And the one thing that always resonates with me is safety, and for all communities, because I hear it from the non-LGBTQ plus community as well. When they see the pride flag, they think that they can be safe there, mm-hmm. Which I think is an incredible thing.
I'm Kevin Lee, and let's queer up gay culture. What is happening when so many gay pride events are being canceled for 2026? Grampian Pride, one of Scotland's prominent LGBTQ celebrations, will not take place in 2026. It is just the latest of a disturbing trend for 2026 of cancellations of major LGBTQ prides and events. In an emotional announcement on social media titled, quote, Public Statement, 4 Pillars of Grampian Pride 2026, end quote, the organizers said, quote, after many months of reflection, discussion, and deeply emotional consideration, the board of 4 Pillars has made the incredibly difficult decision that we will not be hosting Grampian Pride in 2026, end quote. Organizers emphasized that pride remains vital for the region, but rising hostility toward LGBTQ people, increased mental health struggles, and a worsening funding landscape pushed the group to prioritize core services over the large-scale event. They warned that the safety of LGBT plus people is under increasing pressure, and that hosting Grampian Pride would divert essential resources from sexual health outreach, peer support, and safe space programming. The cancellation comes amid wider financial instability across UK Pride events following the collapse of Manchester Pride's organising body and multiple 2025 pauses, including London by Pride. For many LGBTQ Americans, the announcement echoes growing global concerns of sustainability, safety, and community support. Florida has been directly affected by many LGBTQ event cancellations for 2026. Queer News Tonight continues to monitor this growing trend. This is definitely a shift in global culture. You know, we're seeing it in our country and other countries. And what I see is that it's shifting from celebration to survival. Breaks my heart. I also feel that it's a reminder that our rights can be rolled back. If a woman's right to control her womb can be taken away, thank goodness gay marriage cannot be taken away now, thanks to the Supreme Court decision. But what else can they take away? And it's really, really disturbing. I think one of the things that we as a community need to think about is a lot of the gay prides tend to be in spring, summer, or fall, right? And it's one time of the year when we all coalesce, congregate, show up to celebrate our community. But what are we doing in the other seasons? And I think that this is more of a sustained commitment that we need to show up for our community, spend our dollars in our community, like a lot of the other cultures of the world, the Mormons, the Jews, the Muslims. They are showing up for their community, spending their money and their businesses and their community organizations and health clinics. That's what we need to be doing, I feel.
You know, maybe look at it a different way too. I mean, a lot of the corporate sponsors are backing out too. So we don't have these huge, big city, organizations and celebrations. Maybe we have smaller, community celebrations instead, but we still need to be out there celebrating, our pride of ourselves and who we are. I mean, Naples Pride had a hard time last year with the city pushing back and with the drag queens, and it's still a big lawsuit going on. But Naples had 5,000 people. It was small, but, mighty. Bonita Springs just had theirs last weekend or 2 weekends ago, and they had 400 people, but it was a great celebration. People were happy. So maybe we get rid of these large ones and do something that's more inclusive and smaller.
Show up and shine.
Yeah. I mean, because they're really trying to do is try to hide us.
Right.
They're not really trying to protect us. They're trying to hide us, put us in the back in the closet. So we come out of the closet and we do smaller
Yeah,
venues.
like you said, a lot of corporations are backing away from sponsoring prides, so we're going to see less and less of the big corporate sponsors, presenting our pride festivals. But maybe it is an opportunity for our pride organizers just to reinvent what pride is.
Back to the basics.
Back to the basics.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it doesn't have to be so elaborate, or you don't really need like a headliner coming from another city or something. Sometimes you just got to tap into local talent, or sometimes you just have to dig another well. You know what I mean? Sometimes, and this is experiencing with our organization too. We are having sponsors that are stepping up. Thank you, CAN Community Health, and also the Bears of South Florida. But we do have other ones that said no, and it's not that they didn't want to fund us, it's just that they don't have the money. Yeah. And understandably, because of everything that's going on politically, we're hoping that we'll get them back next year. So it's about sustaining through the year for us too, at this point, until we get to that next hurdle. So, hopefully with with new policies and new people coming in for elected, that will hopefully start to change some of that back again. So.
No. Absolutely. Well, make sure that you discover your local pride event in your community and support them.
I'm William Haas, and let's queer up gay culture. For 2026, what Gayborhoods are really affordable? Here's the list. Across the country, LGBTQ plus communities continue to grow, and they're not just found in pricey cities like San Francisco or New York. A new Out.com analysis of Redfin's reveals 10 most affordable Gayborhoods in the United States, with median home prices under $300,000 as of November 2025. Coming at number 10 is Ferndale in Detroit, Michigan, with a median home price of $287,000. Ferndale has been a queer hub since the 1980s, hosting Motor City Pride since 2001. It also elected the state's first out gay mayor in 2007 and is home to the Affirmation's LGBTQ+ Community Center. At $266,000, the Grove in St. Louis, Missouri is known for its nightlife, LGBTQ+ bars, eclectic restaurants, and the first in the nation transgender memorial garden. Minneapolis claims 2 spots, Uptown at $232,000, celebrated for art scene and venues, Lawn Park at $225,000, home to Twin City Pride, the Minneapolis Convention Center, and the Basilica of St. Mary Midtown, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and Atlantic City come in tied at $215,000. Midtown is known for its queer population and massive Midtown Scholar bookstore, while Atlantic City hosts the iconic Miss America pageant and numerous music festivals. In Portland, Oregon, Old Chinatown, now considered the city's queer epicenter, comes in at $200,000. Highland Square in Akron, Ohio, sits at $183,000, known for its art community and Highland Square Porch Rocker Festival. At number 2 comes right in Florida, Ybor City, Tampa, reflects an affordability at $170,000, blending queer culture with rich Cuban and Spanish history. Notable, this area did reflect a median price of nearly $400,000 about a year ago. And the most affordable of all is Hewley Green in Syracuse, New York, at $145,000, famed for Victorian homes, lush gardens, and what many call the city's most welcoming LGBT community. This is really good to see this coming in. These small cities you would never, would even think about. But also, too, that goes back to maybe we need smaller prides happening in all these little smaller cities. I was really surprised to see Atlantic City, but if you look back about 5 years ago, Asbury Park was not a very good area, and now Asbury Park is the place to go to. So really, we go in, we revitalize all these cities. And I was totally shocked about Ybor, in Florida here.
Yeah, it's really interesting because King Community Health's national headquarters is located in Ybor. We moved from Sarasota, Florida, about 5-6 years ago, and the historic renovation and restoration of the German American Social Club, which is now our headquarters, that was originally built in 1901. And we've seen the transformation of that neighborhood even since we moved in there and transformed this historic landmark. And now all the homes around it are being renovated. There's a park now going up across the street. There's been a lot of infrastructure updates. So it's amazing when you start to move into a neighborhood and start to make updates, how that ripple effect takes effect.
Yeah, it's like planting seeds, in some of these red states that I'm just so happy to see, like, Ohio and Missouri, we're starting to see more LGBTQ population coming up. I've even heard of talks of like North Carolina that there's an LGBTQ like senior living, facility being created of something. So I love seeing that throughout the red states too, because you know what, we're here, we're all over the place, and we need spaces where we can live, and thrive.
But we're revitalizing a lot of these cities, but we're also bringing money into the cities that really need these, need this money. So, we really are a force to, to reckon with.
That's a good point, because like you're saying, the cities do need money, the communities need money. And what I found many years ago, I actually had a gay real estate brokerage in New York City, and so what I found was when I worked with agents across the country was that a lot of the gay community was moving into the so-called ghettos, the areas that were run down, the downtowns where there was nothing happening. There was no revitalization. So the gays would go in, the queers would go in and literally buy property in unsafe neighborhoods where no one else would go. They would revitalize it, paint the rainbow. Every house was a different color. They would make the homes beautiful. The landlords were thrilled if they were renters because they raised the value of the properties. Unfortunately, what happened after that? Well, then the yuppies came in with their kids and the prices skyrocketed. But what I see with all of this real estate is that basically the gay community is revitalizing, bringing money to areas that need it. And so I'm very proud to see that.
No, that's incredible. So the next time you're taking a vacation, invest your money in one of these local Gayborhoods and spend your money in the community. I'm Dr. Kal Gajraj, and let's queer up faith. Trans Catholics share Jubilee table with Pope Leo XIV. Pope Leo XIV shared a Sunday meal with a group of transgender Catholic activists, including Italian writer and advocate Alicia Nobile, during the Vatican's Jubilee of the Poor. The gathering of roughly 1,300 people coincided with the World Day of the Poor, beginning with Mass in St. Peter's Basilica and followed by a communal lunch honoring people who are homeless, vulnerable, or socially marginalized. Nobile, 46, was among other transgender women invited after she requested an audience with the new pontiff, who was born in Chicago and holds dual American and Peruvian citizenship. The 69-year-old Pope was elected on May 8th, succeeding Pope Francis, who died at 88. Her hope, she says, is to preserve the inclusive spirit that Francis championed. She told the media, quote, "I asked Leo not to go backwards on rights," end quote. Nobile has been open about a past marked by rejection, including secret exorcism rites and pressure for electroshock therapy as a teen. Francis later became a mentor, urging her to share her story, despite Pope Leo's mixed statements on LGBTQ issues. Nobile believes her invitation signals continuity. The church, she says, remains a home for all, quote, "no one excluded," end quotes. I personally like this story because it's a story of inclusivity. And I think that the church, no matter what divides us, there's more that we have in common. And the church should be focused on inviting folks into the church because they know that we exist.
And I mean, look how many popes, just 2-3 popes ago, she would not been, she would have been banished from the church and, and criticized, and here they're letting her in. So maybe there is a glimmer of hope going into this. And, I also said, I like, love the Pope's outfits and the priest's outfits. It's the best drag show in town.
Absolutely.
While I'm grateful that Nobile has a seat at the table, right? A seat in the Vatican, I really feel like I just have to say I'm not very hopeful that this is going to lead anywhere positive. A seat at the table is one thing, but a change in the legislation of church and the doctrine, that's a whole different creature, if you will. And you all know that I grew up in Texas, a very difficult childhood with very strict traditional family, conservative family. I personally had to endure some rather humiliating Catholic exorcisms because of my being gay and bringing Satan into the home, and which was really crazy. And also back in the 80s, unfortunately, I actually knew in Texas some gay men who were rather damaged. They were still able to live life, but they were not the same because of electroshock therapy. And that was done because of their parents' permission when they were younger. And that really broke my heart because these were people in my neighborhood when I was going to college. And then now, 20 years ago, whenever I was entering anesthesia school here in South Florida, I unfortunately had to deliver electroshock therapy to patients for various disease states, not necessarily for them being gay, or none of them for being gay, but the fact that they just had different disease states. But it's so cruel, it's so inhumane, it's so awful to watch, and I think it should be barred. But what has been done globally and historically to our community is it really leaves me very little room for religious hope and change.
Yeah. It's really shocking to hear these experiences and these stories because we're fortunate to live in a little gay bubble where we have places like Sunshine Cathedral where we're broadcasting live from right now, and Unity on the Bay and so many other LGBTQ plus friendly churches. And, we hope that, people can balance their faith, and find a spiritual home that accepts them. LGBTQ 1 Minute News, let's queer up politics. Erik Bottcher enters crowded race for Nadler's seat, urges LGBTQ mobilization. New York City Council member Erik Bottcher has launched his bid for Congress, joining a packed 2026 Democratic primary for the seat long held by Jerry Nadler. Bottcher, 46, is the race's only out gay candidate, raising nearly $700,000 in his first 24 hours. Citing his survival as a closeted teen, he says New York City saved his life. Bottcher vows to fight for LGBTQ plus rights, noting, quote, "We've never actually had one of our own at the table. Our community is under attack in terrifying ways, and it's time to take the gloves off," end quote. He pledges to take on the GOP corruption, cruelty, and chaos. Queer News Tonight is scheduling an interview with Bottcher in the near future. I always love the fact when more and more LGBTQ plus candidates are coming out, and not necessarily in political races, but just across the board. It's really accepting, and hopeful for me, because I mean, one day I would love to be a state senator or a congressman,
Awesome.
for the great state of
one.
Florida, so who knows, maybe in 10 years, but it's great to see that, a lot of younger candidates are coming out, a lot of LGBTQ plus candidates and allies are running for races.
And he raised a ton of money in 24 hours.
24
That's
hours.
amazing.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You know what? Bottcher's doing a good job. I think the fact that he stands up and speaks up for our community at a young age says a lot about, it gives me a lot of hope for something to talk about. But also, we need to know, out of sight, out of mind. If we are not showing up and shining, then we're not a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
So I really salute what Bottcher's doing in New York.
Yeah, even with the recent New York City mayoral race with Mamdani, it was just really encouraging just to hear not only a young candidate, but he mentioned every single community and every single speech that he had, whether it's, lesbian, gay, trans, Muslims, Christians, Jews, no matter what, he mentioned everyone. Everyone was included. And we need more of that in today's society.
Yep.
I love that we keep breaking glass ceilings like this. Sometimes we have spaces where we think that, there's no way that we could do something like that. And then we just step into the role. Yeah. And it's so magical. It just shows that people out there are hearing us, and they don't really care, about our sexual identity or our gender expression. It's wonderful to see people being elected.
No, absolutely.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up faith. Faith leaders condemn Catholic bishop's ban on gender-affirming care. Several U.S. religious leaders are speaking out after Catholic bishops voted to ban gender-affirming care in Catholic hospitals. The updated directives cite early Vatican and 2023 teachings stating, quote, Catholic healthcare services must not perform interventions that aim to transform the sexual characteristics of a human body, end quote. The Catholic Health Association welcomed this revision and thanked bishops for incorporating its feedback into the directive. However, leaders like Michael Sennett, a trans man who is active in his Massachusetts parish, said, quote, Catholic teaching upholds the invaluable dignity of every human life, end quote. Coinciding with the bishop's decision, heads of several major religious denominations stated support for the trans community, as they should, because I never really saw in the Bible that we should be denying transgender anything.
Exactly.
So,
It's interesting because in San Rafael is a hospital in Trinidad, and that was actually founded by nuns, and that's where a lot of the gender-affirming surgeries took place in Colorado, and that was founded by nuns way back in the 60s. So, and the care took place in the 70s and 80s.
Isn't that fascinating?
It's being a nurse anesthetist. I've been doing the work for about 22 years now, 22 years plus. And what I know is, what I think is, the Catholics are refusing to transform the sexual characteristics of the human body, but they'll gladly provide care to a child who is shorter than average, which is interesting. They'll inject them with hormones. They will break the legs. They will attach lengthening devices to those legs. Per the parents, they'll extend the height of that child, and they will grow them to ungodly heights. And this is through parental desire. This is not nature. And so I think that's an interesting counter perspective for Pope Leo the 14th to consider, that, you're willing to utilize hormones and medical therapy to change the human body of a child, but you're not willing to support the trans community. It's just religious persecution being covered up by, for various reasons.
Yeah. And at King Community Health, we have the privilege of being able to serve a large part of our trans community and giving them access to healthcare. And when you talk about just healthcare in general, it should be just about providing compassionate care to everyone, and that's what it really should be about.
To human beings.
Because what people come to think of gender-affirming care, it far extends what people think of, as hormone therapy, but, people are getting, hair plant injections and chin injections and Botox and fillers and, and stuff like that. That's all considered gender-affirming care, whether people want to believe it or not.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up gay culture. David Archuleta brings bold, playful energy to new gay dating app campaign. David Archuleta is stepping boldly into queer visibility with a new campaign for the gay dating app Archer, where he embraces playful, confident, dom-top energy. After coming out in 2021 and later clarifying that he is gay and demisexual, Archuleta has spoken openly about navigating faith, sexuality, and self-acceptance. His new campaign marks a powerful milestone in his journey and a meaningful moment for LGBTQ audiences seeking authentic representation. You know, I adore him. 2008, when he was on American Idol Season 7, that little cutie patootie, and everybody was wondering his sexuality.
Yeah.
So freaking cute back then. And I will have to admit, I just learned what demisexual was, right? So just before I was looking this up, and it really is a sexual attraction that develops because of a strong emotional connection. So it's more about the emotional connection first before the sexual or the physical connection. Well,
Yeah.
who would have known? This demisexuality concept encourages people to focus on the inner qualities, which I like. I always say to people, my poor friends, but I always say, why the hell are you dating that grandpa? Well, I like older men, but you know what? It was their soul. It wasn't the physicality. I fell in love with the inner qualities of the soul, what came through from them. And that's really what won me over. So maybe I'm a demisexual.
Maybe.
I have no clue.
No, that's awesome. I know that. I know David Archuleta, so he's a cute friend of mine. I'm super proud of his success.
He should.
I got to meet him when he first came to South Florida, and he performed for Rock the Block that we had in Wilton Manors.
Right.
And then he came back for Halloween, this past Halloween, where we got to hang out, where he performed at Hunter's nightclub.
Nice.
And then we took him all around Wilton, so that was a lot of fun. But he's a great guy. You know, I'm super proud of his career and
Incredible
finding
career.
his sexuality also, because to be on TV at such a young age and for everyone to question your sexuality before they even congratulate you for being,
Before you even
on
wanna
American
go.
Idol. But yeah,
Right.
there's so many celebrities that are going through this as well. Like, look how much pressure that Shawn Mendes gets all the time. And, the Jonas Brothers when it was at that time, and everyone else. But like, why do we push so much pressure on these celebrities, and their sexuality instead of just promoting their talents?
Right.
Exactly.
I agree, because I'm really happy to see that they're actually that he's comfortable now to be a spokesperson for this app. I don't even know about this Archer app, but I'm assuming it's like Grindr.
You have a boyfriend. You don't need to know about that.
I don't, but I do need to know, because as we know, Cal, we're in communication, so I'm all about types of communication.
It's research.
But yeah, no, it must. I remember when the gay dating apps came out, and it was all about smut and all, go and find your next fix, So it's good to see that that we have celebrity representation, on these apps, and where you could feel good about yourself and know that you're just out there to have fun, or just exploring, or getting to having some meaningful connection.
Yeah, this app seems to be, from what little I understand, it's just more about compatibility, shared values, and getting to know people first, developing a real relationship, which I think, unfortunately, our community tends to not make a priority. It's more about the physicality of the quick hookup. I hate to say that, but it's very common, and in a way, it's very shallow. It doesn't build long-lasting relationships typically, and really, learning someone's values is really what develops a deep relationship. So I really salute him standing up as a demisexual and dom-top energy, as he calls it. And so, anyway, quite interesting little clip here.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's Grow Up Entertainment. Las Culturitas Cultural Award returns to Bravo in 2026. Ding dong, the clutch is back. Matt Rogers and Bowen Yang's Las Culturitas Cultural Awards return to Bravo in 2026 after the 2025 ceremony became a viral hit. The co-hosts, now both Out 100 honorees, said, quote, "We are beside ourselves with joy, excitement, and more. This is officially a front runner in the category of best decisions ever made," end quote. They warn, quote, "No Addison Rae song is safe." Bravo's Francis Brewick adds, quote, "We are rooting for Matt and Bowen in the most triple threat entertainment host curated surprising category," end quote. The air date is still not announced, but in 2025, the show is streaming on Peacock. I haven't seen this show, but it sounds amazing, and after reading this, I want to go watch this.
I love award shows. It doesn't matter what it is, the Oscars, the Grammys, the Tonys, you name it. Like, I'm for all award shows.
Yes, and more queer hosts, definitely. I think I get a good laugh out of all of it, so and I'm sure a lot of people do.
I love Bravo. I love Out Magazine. I think anything they support, it's going to be amazing. So this is going to be a very interesting show.
Mm-hmm. LGBTQ, 1 Minute News. Let's queer up politics. Epstein's brother rejects Clinton link as emails raise new questions about Trump and oral sex. Mark Epstein is pushing back after newly released 2018 email referencing quote-unquote Bubba fueled speculation that it meant Bill Clinton. He told The Advocate the line was part of a humorous private exchange and is not in any way a reference to former President Bill Clinton. His spokesperson added that Bubba, quote-unquote, is a private individual who's not a public figure, end quote. Meanwhile, other emails deeply scrutinized of Donald Trump, including Jerry Epstein's claim that Trump, quote-unquote, knew about the girls. Wow. I'm still thinking Bubba's Bill.
I think it gives a whole new meaning to that big, beautiful bill.
Oh, good Lord. It's shocking how so many Christians and non-Christians in this country would vote for a president who is literally the antithesis to their Savior principle. And so they stand pridefully in their unchristian behaviors. I think they ought to be ashamed of themselves.
These are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. Our anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ family.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Don't forget to join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to attention of the broader community. This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Dr. Kal Gajraj, and I thank you for joining us on behalf of my fellow LGBTQ anchors here at Queer News Tonight, Otto Zielke, Kevin Lee, and Will Haas. We'll see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ plus community and world, we wish you a good night.